Welcome to 85 here on Rauta. This time we'll start with some death metal. Not just any death metal, but very dark, low-tuned, and oppressive one. This one is from United States of America. It's called Sempiternal, Dusk, and Cenotaph of Defectuous Creation. The second album by this Oregon-based band is not exactly reinventing the wheel, but sort of putting their efforts into low-tuned guitars, mostly slow tempo, and just swarming the very heavy and, let's say, oppressive music in your face with deep growly vocals and very thick but kind of a monotone production. So this is not for those who are expecting some kind of a fast tempo beatings, catchy riffs, or just memorable chorus parts. This is very much kind of like a ritual death metal, as it often is. One can even say this is very much kind of a typical Dark Descent release, being this kind of old school and one-trick pony. Now, that is not meant to be as an insult. That is just more to say this is very much like some albums you've heard before. Because death metal can be so versatile. Some are more, melodic and kind of easygoing. Some are just ultra brutal. And some are just playing with the darkness and trying to focus on that. And this is exactly where this is. If this is even more slow tempo, I would even say this is very close to kind of a doom death approach. So if you're not allergic to that, I think this might be your cup of tea. I still think these guys have more potent, because for example, the growly vocals are very much monotone. It's like, once you hear certain parts of, you've heard it all. And the same unfortunately applies to riffs as well. But I mean, it's quite okay, just could be better. The next stop is Brazil. This one is called Red Razor. And this is not exactly an independent release. This is not released by a one particular label, but a kind of a combination of many, Under Machine and Helena Discos, and, well, quite a list of names here. As you can see, 8 tracks, about 30 minutes and a few seconds. This one is all about having fun, having beer, but also politics. So quite an interesting combo. Now the first album was, I think, named as Beer Revolution, and this is The Revolution Continues. So if you're continuing with having beer, having fun, and having the Revolution Part 2. As you can see, the cover already explains that this is old school thrash metal, and let me tell you, this is very much what it's all about. Basically, the band is doing just fine. I mean, the riffs are very genuine, kind of a thrash metal riffs. The production is quite decent. There is nothing to complain, really. And the vocalist has kind of the right kind of attitude when it comes to thrash singing style. Now, what comes as a downside, I think, is that none of these riffs or songs are exactly memorable or really good at that. That is to say, this is not your next Slayer, Exodus, Megadeth, Metallica, Destruction, Sodom, Creator, or so on. This is very much, unfortunately, kind of a mediocre level of thrash metal. I mean, I like the attitude and I like the grooviness, and for some songs, I feel like my leg is just, thumping, like, oh yeah, I'm getting, and after that, you're like, okay, that's it, pretty much. Not bad, but still, I think, mediocre stuff. The next step is to Finland, and this is very much like the first album, Sempiternal Dusk. This one is called Krypts, and it's the Finnish band that has been there for 11 years now. This one is called Cadaver Circulation, and there's a tracklist for this 37 minutes an album. Now, see the pattern here. All of these albums are between 30 and 40 minutes. These are the bands that know that going way too lengthy is not good for your soul. Keep it compact, keep it real, and there you have it. Being a kind of a dark death metal as well, very much like the first one, this is pretty much like going into catacombs and expecting death metal from there. This is the booklet, not your traditional let's open some pages and read the lyrics, but more like twist and turn and play some game. Now, and I kind of like this kind of a poster kind of approach to the booklet, so it's neat to look at and probably will be much better if on vinyl. This is also very dark, kind of a slow, almost doom-like death metal. Very much like the Sempiternal Dusk, but this is even more going to the underground Krypts, where you just see those vaulted rooms more and more. If you ever played a game called Dungeon Master, Eye of the Beholder type of games, you probably know what going through lots of dungeons and crypts look like. This is almost like a death metal equivalent to that. That is, lots of repetition, lots of seeing the same patterns all over again. Now, if you like darkness and if you like to keep it heavy, almost like black metal-ish version, but with growly vocals and more death metal approach, this is definitely your cup of tea. Now, the downside, that is kind of like the opposite of these good things here, is this is getting actually quite boring after a while. I mean, I totally like their atmosphere here. I like that it's very dark and kind of death-like, and it's very crypt-like the name suggests. But then again, you also pretty much know the album true after you heard a song or two, and I can't really say I'm that convinced. I mean, some people, this is all that it takes: low-tuned guitars, beat very, dark and all that stuff. But for me, I mean, like, I want more leads, maybe solos, maybe catchiness, maybe chorus parts, maybe something that actually gets my head do the banging motion. This is not banging me, not sideways, not anyways. This is just like, yeah, guys, you do it heavy and you do it dark, but do you have the actual great music? And unfortunately, I have to be the naysayer and say, no, you don't. Feel bad about saying this for my own countrymen, that this is not the way I want to go with death metal. But who am I to say? Maybe it fits your cup of tea, even if it doesn't belong to mine. So, let's move on. The fourth album in question is a one-man band. This one is called Ysbryd, from Germany, and the album in question is Kraft. It's the debut album by this one-man band. Now, this person in the band is very active with various projects around Germany, and some of them are black metal, some of them are death metal. Not sure exactly what is his main thing, but it seems like this guy has quite a few projects going on, so it's hard to basically say where Ysbryd fits in that category. Is the main band, side project, or whatever, but just one-man project anyway. As you can see, this one has 9 tracks plus 4 bonus tracks. Originally released in 2018 as a digital release only, and about 45 minutes. This one is like 74 minutes in total, so a very lengthy one. I'm not sure exactly where these bonus tracks are taken, but it's clear they're bonus tracks, because once you listen to this actual release, you find out they are not the same quality as the main CD here with their music. They are just bonus and should be taken as such. As you can see, all the lyrics are in German, so there's not much for us who don't read German. Musically, this is somewhere like along the lines of atmospheric black metal, but it's kind of a rawish in nature. And I must say, this is kind of a very typical one-man project. I mean, none of this material is exactly polished, and by no means I mean like mainstream, high-end studio sound, but I mean the music itself is quite, not unfinished, but still more like, oh, let's just get on with it, and here it is. I personally have the same problem, so I'm not to criticize about how to do that, but I'm just saying this would have, in my opinion, more potential to be greater. Now this is more like, not bad, but kind of a mediocre, like, overall. None of these songs are exactly great. None of the riffs are exactly memorable. There are better moments, and yes, there are lots of those kind of mediocre moments. So it's kind of like easy to listen to, but very hard to enjoy a lot. Not bad, but I mean, I personally wouldn't be buying that CD for full price. But there you have it, some German black metal, the kind of underground way. And it's also released through Purity through Fire, which is also the label for the last album here. This one is a split album, as you can see. Two German bands, or one, could we say, once again, a solo project, and another German band, and then a Croatian band. So Czarnobog rock Valosta Varjoon, which is a Finnish name meaning from light to shadow, and then Necro first from Croatia. So it's a split release, about 54 minutes, kind of a three-way thing here, ménage à trois, like they say in French. So you can see very paganic heathen style, as the name says, Germanic and Slavonic heathen unity. We have those classic hammers. Here and there, some Norse runes. So this is very, very could we say Nordic style. This is the Croatian band, the solo project from Germany, and the duo from Germany. And oops! And then we have this booklet, which has some words to the wise, more like information to get the basics going, but no lyrics whatsoever. Now, this is a kind of a tricky thing, because I mean, I like split releases. I've been saying that many, many times. But this particular case is, once again, one of those releases which kind of point out also the problems. Now let's start in chronological order, and it starts with this Czarnobog rock, however it's said. It's very raw, very demo-like black metal, kind of a simple, yet tries to be also atmospheric at the same time, and that's, my friends, is the main problem here, because the thing is, it's not exactly like very successful in creating atmospheric, beautiful, soothing music, because their sound is very raw, and it's actually, there's lots of problem with mixing, mainly with the cymbals, because it seems like those cymbals kind of are like cut out, they kind of like mumbled, and it kind of annoys me. The same thing is actually with Necro Forest. You don't see, get to hear the whole cymbal sound like splashing all the way around, but it's more like cut out. It's like as it was quickly mixed, or without enough information, like skill, how to do it properly. So it seems like it's badly executed. Also, the first band is having a little bit problem, in my opinion, with the sound. I mean, it's very, very demo-like. Probably should have been more of a demo rather than going full-blown on this split. Now, Valosta Varjoon, then again, only with 2 tracks here, they're clearly the best band on this one, and I think they have the most potent stuff. I mean, it's kind of a melodic, kind of a typical European, well, German black metal, but I mean, they still have the kind of a potential to be a lot bigger. Now, all these bands nowadays have at least first album out. Actually, this one has more than one, and it seems it's like putting them like through a factory, like 2 albums in a year. And I don't think that's a good idea, but whatever. And the Necro first here is somewhere between these other 2, being kind of a rawish, but still very mediocre in ways to the songs are written and how the sound is done. I mean, like I said, the cymbals are one of the problems, and everything else is pretty much like mediocre. It's not bad, but it's not like way full blown, yay. It's just like, I mean, I kind of like that bands, or sorry, labels are doing these kind of split releases, because then you get like 3 bands with just certain amount of money. But when the overall result is pretty much like not gonna cut it, I mean, it's just a waste of time. But anyway, this is just my opinion. Obviously, you want to check out those links, especially Valosta Varjoon. There's a link to this whole split release, so you will figure out which one is your cup of tea and proceed from there. So all in all, 5 different interesting releases. Some are better, some are worse. Not totally anything which is like big and boom and all that stuff. Anyway, less talk, more action. Clickety click. Go check out those bands and decide for yourself. See you next time for more Indie 5 coming your way.